Gentlemen, we are live. We are going to be building in public here on Jestor. Jestor is a platform that allows you to build internal systems like lightning fast without code. So it is a no code system. Pretty excited to be here. I've got Damon here, who is actually a team member of Jestor.
That's right.
Whether you're watching this on the Automation Hunter YouTube channel, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or on the Jestor YouTube channel, welcome. We are going to be building something pretty cool today. I am a huge fan of Getting Things Done by David Allen. It's called GTD. For those of you who use it a lot, you'll recognize that. David Allen basically developed a framework around getting things done. And we are going to be building out a system inside my Jestor account to do that. So here we go. And if you add comments there, we do see those. And so you'll be able to kind of interact with us if you want, ask questions. And we are going to dive in head first here. So let me share my screen. Probably going to break everything. Hey, the screen is working. The screen.
Hey, not too bad.
Okay. Yeah, looks like it's working. So this is Jestor from the inside. I've actually already deleted out all of the sample data that was in here. And I've opened up my very first project or my very first database, right? So I hit here, go over here to show my tabs, and you'll see there's only one tab in here. And that tab is my project. So this is very similar to an Airtable. It's got some automations you can do. And right now it's asking me, what do you want to put in as the record ID? When you're messing around with record ID, it's important that you consider unique names. Otherwise, you get all sorts of fun problems. Project names, I would guess, are generally going to be unique. If you have two projects with the exact same name, I would guess that you probably just need to create some sub-bullets. So in this situation, I actually am okay with the record ID being the project name. I don't always go that way, just kind of depends. And obviously you can do a random code for the ID, a sequential ID. But for this situation, I'm going to just use the project name. And because it's actually called projects, I'm just going to do name. So you can see there it is, my name. Now I got a hotkey here, hit N, pops up. I can start throwing in my projects. One question I have though, and maybe Damon knows, maybe he doesn't. Do you know if there's a way, something cool that I can go in and go, like I put in my name and now I hit like Alt S or something? Nope, not Alt S. That actually makes that create button go. If I hit enter, I didn't do it, enter.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Hey, I figured it out.
I think it tabs through though. Yeah.
It does
so
tab
it's tab
through.
enter. Yeah.
Yeah. So tab enter. Sweet. I didn't have to go back to my keyboard. So
you're just thinking how to do it really quickly then, right? That's what your point was.
Yeah. Well, so my point here is like, I want, if I'm, so for example, in this situation, and I'll show you where this thing goes right now. I have a projects list that is essentially a huge list of, let's see if I can just get it up here. Yeah, here we go. So this is my projects list that's coming in, and you can see it's just a bullet pointed list. I'd Google Keep. And so what I wanted to do is pull this up on one screen, and then on my other screen, I'm just going to rapid fire these into it. And I've even done, so part of the reason I wanted to do Jestor is because Jestor has this really cool piece called apps. And so I can make this like Will's, what would it be, like command center?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, we need more of those.
Will. Yes, we do. So this is Will's command center, and the idea behind Will's command center is I have multiple types of data that I'm storing in this list. So, for example, I have a list of projects, and then I have 2 possible leads for my go-to-market consulting stuff. And I've got delegation, and I got all sorts of stuff in here. So I got things to delegate to people, things that have been delegated to people. So these are still projects, right? Projects to be delegated, projects that have been delegated. And so like I was trying to figure out a good way to get all of these projects in here really fast. And so let's just for the sake of this video, let's get my delegated projects in here. So in order to do delegated projects, I need to have a status field. So I'm going to do probably my single select field here.
So you stopped sharing your screen there. So if you want to make sure that we're watching you build here.
That is a good part of why you were here. Thank you. All right. I was just talking, so I felt like looking at the blank screen felt like that was a little silly. Let's see.
So yeah, so you're gonna set a status. Is that what you're saying? So we're gonna see you hopefully in a second get a single selection that then you're gonna be able to have like various different selections for.
Correct. So the idea here is that I've got up here, you can see it. And so let's do that for a second. So one of my projects here is I am currently the president of data automation, and my job at data automation is innovation and technology. It's actually kind of exciting. We're bringing in a member of the team to step into the CEO slot, and she's taken on some of the day-to-day tasks. So sneak peek. Some of you didn't know that yet. All right. So
now we know.
In any case, now you know. Yeah, the announcement's formally going out today. So I don't see. Well, there's 3 people who know now. There's 3 people who know now. So the data automation is one of my projects. And then a second project for me, let's go through my ones that are delegated here. I have a scraper project for No Codery, which is a no-code community website kind of thing that I actually purchased. So, but the scraper is for No Codery, which is interesting because so this is kind of like a sub project, which I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted like sub projects and main projects. So for now, just for the sake of this, for while we're building this, I'm just going to do No Codery scraper like that.
Yeah.
To note that, and maybe later I'll go in and create a bunch of create a whole nother table that I connect to it to kind of go there. So I'm going to hit my
well, what's nice sometimes too is to, you may be able to just use like another single selection. And so then you'll have be like, okay, these are main projects and then these are sub projects. And then in your command center, you'll just show, here's my main projects and then here's my sub as a separate, separate little tables. And they're just filtered based on that.
Yeah, well, that's actually exactly where I'm going here in just a second. So let me get a few more of these in here and we'll show people how that would work. So for my delegated things, I actually have a restaurant here in town called Mr. Delicious. They do Mexican food, and I can't spell with beans, so I probably shouldn't have done that live.
There you go.
Delicious.
So
there we go. Thank you, Google. So Mr. Delicious, and this is like tech support. And I specifically do like Google listing. Let's do tech and listing support. There we go. So I help them, and they actually do a trade. My family we eat there about once a week. And we eat there with the trade that we do for tech and listing support. And this is one thing that I've delegated to my assistant to do a lot of the work, and he's doing a great job. So I'm hitting tab. Oh, I didn't do that right. Okay, I'm in here. I hit tab, hit enter. Yes. Okay, so now let's get my other delegated projects here. I've got Skew Harmony, which is a product that I'm helping with some go-to-market stuff. I'm going to do that. Oh, don't hit tab when you don't mean to. And I've got, let's see here. Let's get away properties. And these guys are doing a trade with me, and my brother is helping me build a WordPress plugin on that sucker. Okay, so these are the different things that I've got in here, and I've got two different types of things. I've got data automation. This is not a delegated project, right? These ones up here are delegated projects. And so I'm going to do a single select field. So if I get over here, single select, and I'm going to call it status of the project. And I'm going to go active, old. Oh, don't do that. Old, archived. I'm going to call it done. I'm just going to do one that says done. Active, done, and delegated. Give any awesome status. Oh, we'll call it maybe like in queue, back burner.
Oh yeah, not a bad idea.
Okay, and back burner would be like or back burner or backlog. So I'm just trying to give myself some statuses that I can go off of here, and you can see now I've got this fancy little awesome clicker where I can give my stuff here. So I've delegated these, delegated, and active. Okay, so the whole point of that process was to go back to Will's command center now, and we're going to bring in something that shows me. So remember, I was showing you this in a bullet pointed list inside a Google Keep file, and we're going to go active projects right here. We're going to pull in the projects table, and I want all of those things to show up, and I'm going to add a filter that says where the status equals active. Freak yeah.
Yeah, so that will show your main projects or your active projects that you're working on that aren't delegated.
Correct.
In the backlog,
these are the ones that like I should be paying attention to this like hardcore. Now, I like the idea of a bullet pointed list still. And so it's kind of important to me that I kind of get that view to some degree or another. And so so in my bullet pointed list, I had data automation, and then I had the sub projects associated with data automation. So I'm realizing now that I probably do want, so I'm just going to mock it up for myself. Let's say that I want another table here, and I'm going to call this sub projects. And I'm going to go just projects because I don't have the other one created yet. And we're not even going to do we will do a filter. So we'll do sub projects, data automation, something like that. And normally what I would do at that point is I would filter based on the ones that are connected to data automation. And my thought is, and I'm throwing in this table. So this is like a placeholder for me. So basically I'm thinking that I want to do like let's imagine that those are actually sub projects that are associated with my data automation project. And so I have my active projects, and then I probably have like a section per project because my projects don't change out that often. So maybe what I'm doing is, let's go in here, maybe give myself there we go. Let's get some text. And we're going to do like active projects. And this is part of why I love this platform, is because I can basically make this. Oh, does it make me do that? Oh, it does.
Yeah, so there's a name for it that's kind of used if you're it's like the name of the component.
Yes.
Yeah, that's usually what you're going to do for a text part.
Okay. So now I go in here. Let's pull this down here. And my thought is that I go like this. And over here, this is my, let's see here. Yep, I know where I'm going now. Okay. So now let's make another one of these. Active projects. So let's get my text.
I think one of these days, we're gonna make a duplicate button for the components. That way you could just be like, okay, I have a text box. Let's duplicate the text box and adjust it. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be nice. Oh, got ahead of myself. Come on, let me put it next to it. Uh-oh, doesn't like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so if you had something on the, if you had something above it, perhaps. It's just trying to keep it so that you don't, so you don't mess yourself up when it comes to being, like on a mobile device, right? If you make your screen smaller or bigger, it's just trying to keep it all.
So if I take this out, it's like
chunks.
freaking out at me. Okay, cool. So if I go like this, haha.
There we go.
So now I have my sub projects over here, and over here on this side, yeah, I actually think this would work. So what if I just went like this actually? So that like our iterative design right here. So here's my active projects and I line those up, and then I put all of my sub projects, and this is going to be like super long because it's like all my active projects, right? And so they're right here, and then to the side I have my listed out sub projects, and so like this one would be another table, and it would be like sub projects. And I'm okay with doing these where I have to go edit the dashboard in order to make anything go. So this would be sub projects, and it would be like my stuff for Syntax Coach, which is one of my go-to-market consulting clients. So I'm just going to pull this in, get it right here.
Can I have some of the extra?
Yeah, it's going to show up at the bottom, so you'll just want to pull it over. Yeah, so I'm just going to riff on the Will's command center here a little bit. One of my favorite pieces of Jestor is the apps part right here, because this is where really, you know, if it's for you or for your company or teams, you're going to be looking for the place that you go to be organized and do all your work. And these apps or this dashboard tool is impressive for that. Like you'll be able to put in your automations and put in all your tables you're working on, and then you leave your tables in their place. But ideally you would, you know, only go to them when you would need to go to the full table. Otherwise you'd be doing your work from here.
Right here. Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So that's kind of what I'm, and it's kind of funny because this is making me want to totally go and be like, what if we mock this up? Miro.new. You know, what if we mocked this up, and apparently that doesn't have enough boards, which Miro's going to try and make me upgrade. But what it almost makes me want to mock it up over here, so that I can kind of get a feel for where this is going to go and what needs to be done. Because obviously, like we mocked it up right there, and we kind of cheated and pulled in the projects as sub projects, which is totally fine. But it's sort of limiting our creativity a little bit, because we can't like just spitball dream what could be there. And I mean, I kind of go back and forth on whether or not you should mock it up inside Jestor or whether or not you should mock it up in something like Miro. Like with Miro, I can just, you know, throw buttons on the page.
In some ways it would be like faster, right? And then
it would be
mock it up.
Yeah,
faster.
So like from that standpoint, I can see that. But at the same time, like there are probably a lot of things that I could design in Miro that wouldn't be possible in Jestor. And so like I would get it the way I wanted it to look. I might get attached to the way that it's looking. And then I would try to go do that in Jestor and be like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And so
one of the things for me, as I'm going to build my CRM, or like show how to build a CRM from scratch, is I wanted to start with the Miro board. And my plan was to actually embed it right into here. So I might get to that today, which is start with the Miro board, and I'm going to think out the tables, right? Some of the fields and how they connect, embed that into my dashboard or my command center, if you will. And then I can start working from it from there, because it's going to be an evolving thing. Then I can create the tables. It's kind of like your imagination place first. But for doing, for modeling your dashboard, it might not make the best sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like the whole aspect of like, when you said imagination, I immediately went to like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
If I could share, I would almost share my screen right now, because the the CRM that I was practicing with to try and understand our template and everything, I called it the Willy Wonka CRM.
Hey,
And then I put
so
a little
what you're
chocolate
telling
bar
me is,
icon with it.
yeah, what you're telling me is that was not on accident.
No.
You were using that idea to kind of get where it goes and build. Yeah, I get that. Okay, so so I think we figured out that sub projects needs to be a separate table over here. Obviously I could do, like, if I wanted to keep it all on the same table, I could do maybe a filter right here and say where the name contains the word, data automation. And I could probably get away with putting stuff inside the same table, right? And then it would only show the data automation projects. But I have a
I was thinking you
feeling
would
that,
use another single selection, because think about the speed at which you're going to want to be adding these in. So are you going to really want to be going to add a sub project or add a project when you could just add a project and then you choose whether it's a sub project or not?
that's a great question. I actually think so. So here's what's kind of pushing me over the edge to go at it where I actually do a separate table. As I go in here and I pick apart what I want to do here as I put my stuff in here, there's a really cool feature that Jestor has where you can essentially put in your tasks, and the tasks are associated with a specific record. And so if I go in here to do my tasks, oh, there we go. There's the plus button. I can create a specific task associated with this, and I can even send it to one of my users that's in here. And I can even add followers, and like I can add a due date, the whole bit. So like I can kind of do some of that stuff. And I want those tasks to be able to be associated with sub projects, which I guess I could do if I made it. Yeah, no, if I made it a drop down, I could do that too, couldn't I?
Well, what would be interesting then, perhaps, though, the real thing is if you did use another table, you could then link it to its main project, right, in a connected table. So then okay, so here's data automation, and then here's the sub projects that are of it. And then when you're creating a new sub project, you say, okay, what's the parent project or what's the main project? Then you would be able to select.
So I guess what I really have to ask myself is, does the parent project, so as I'm trying to decide, should this be a separate table, the real question is there going to be data? So that's actually, like, you could do a meme about this. Is there going to be data associated with the other object? That's a fancy way of saying the other thing that you're putting in here. So I've got sub projects and I've got projects. Is there going to be data that I track about sub projects that I don't track about main projects? So for me, like in my little list, one of the things I was tracking is my estimated number of hours associated with the project. And I mean, that is a table that I only care about the main project. I'm not going to estimate hours on the sub projects. I'm only going to estimate it on the top level project.
But then if that's the case, then you would definitely maybe consider having a sub projects table, and then they can be connected back to these primary ones. But you could make it to where it's not required to do a connected field either, right? To be a connected project.
Okay, so now here's
just a straight sub project.
If I ever wanted, okay, I think I just figured out like the thing that's pushing me over the edge for realsies. If I ever wanted to consolidate information about a project based upon the data that's in the sub projects, if I want to consolidate that information, I probably need to do it in the form, like I probably need to do a sub table, right?
I would agree. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. We're going to create another table here. And we're going to call it sub projects.
So then with that.
Actually, before I create that, because I've already got these ones here, why don't I just rename this one? Oh, come on.
You rename it on the left.
It's over here.
In there.
Yeah. So let's just rename this one to be sub projects.
Oh, I see.
Right. Sub projects. Okay. So I've got this one now named subprojects. That means this data automation one needs to go away. And we'll get rid of that record. And this one is going to be, so we'll create a new table. What were you going to say about the new table?
So as soon as you start making another table, that's where the dashboard becomes really powerful as well, because you're going to be able to use the dashboard to have like a button that would be like add project, add subproject. But in one place, you'll be able to just click, oh, I want this one or that one. So it's like that's your main landing page for getting work done or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so for these guys that are sub projects, this is one place where I can't probably just use the name as the identifier, because if I have, I think I'm going to do a random code for this one. I could have the same sub project in two major projects, like get a website up, right? Might be the two projects and they both have to get a website up. And so I might have the same name. So I'm going to use that as the piece there. Okay, so I've got name here. Oh, that was interesting. If I hit that button and hit that, when I hit enter, it immediately filled it out. Like I didn't have to hit tab enter. As soon as I put it in, I just hit enter and it went. So I wonder, it doesn't do that on new records though. So there we go. Oh, actually, that's super interesting. If I hit N, I have to hit tab to get down into it. Interesting. Oh, wait a minute. I'm in the projects tab, and projects are the ones that I said were going to be completely unique. And so it's my sub projects that I have to mess with my name. Building in public. So this would be, I'm going to switch this to a random code, but I don't want to lose my stuff here. So I'm going to go right here and give this one a new one. And I'll just call it name one for a minute while I copy this stuff over.
And then you're going to set that one. Yeah, makes sense.
Then I'm going to reset that one to be, there we go. And that's part of why I'm building it like this. So I think through it all before, before I actually put all the data in there. Got to think through it so that, because it would have been annoying as all get out if I'd done that otherwise. So if I refresh the page here, oh, that's interesting. It's probably only going to do it on the new ones.
It's only on the new ones, yeah. But you could just make those like 1, 2, 3, 4 for now or whatever, and then, they're also going to stay unique, but.
Well, right now what it's done is it's basically saying this is the ID. Key.
Yeah.
I wonder if I change it back to oh, well, it even said that if you use the name after you change it, the value of the field the value of the field changes, but not the ID. So it's a little unforgiving, but that's okay. Because we understand what we're doing here, and these will eventually fall off as projects and I won't care. Well, for the sake of making this clean, let's just do it again. Watch this. There's only 4 of them, so it's not that big a deal. So we're going to go name. And you can see now it's given me a hash,
I see.
right? And I can take let's get away properties and say bye, right? And this one is delegated. Which that way, this is a much cleaner in terms of all of these ones up here at the top. I'd be like, what? Why is that one named Skew Harmony? I could see it being a little confusing. So let's just grab this.
Yeah. If you don't do it, you're going to keep those for the rest of your life if you don't fix them now. So let's keep it clean right now.
Yeah. Okay, and then Mr. Delicious. And I can change the field order, which actually do want to put the name one at the top.
Does it let you put the
Created
ID at the
by,
bottom? Like, I don't need that.
Yeah, that's true. Good call.
I don't know if it
You're
actually
right.
lets you.
I'm not. Yeah, it'll let me.
That's kind of cool.
Bye. Okay, so I can rename this sucker too. Oh, rename, edit. Let's just call it ID. Now I can rename this sucker as name. All right. So we're still getting rid of a few. And again, that's one of the reasons why it's so valuable to be thinking about this as you're building, because if you don't think it through, then you end up with a hodgepodge mess and nobody wants to actually use it, and it just gets frustrating. So here I can get rid of these guys because they're all up there.
Wait, don't delete that one.
Oh, I almost deleted one of the good ones. That's called pairing. We are no code pairing right now. Two people working on the same project at the same time like that. That is called.
I haven't heard
pairing.
that before. Yeah.
Have you heard of pairing? So pairing is actually pretty common for
like pair
developers.
programming.
Yeah, we
pair
are
programming. This is no code pair programming.
no code pair programming right here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so there we go. There. Now I want to be able to attach these. So we're gonna showcase the connected record, and I probably want to go the other way because this is the master table. Oh, right. Did I actually create my? Yes, I did. Oh, there's one downside of this game. So that's interesting. I can rename it over here, but it's actually if you look at the.
Yeah, and it caches the name for just a little while, but yeah. So it made it projects 2, underline 2.
So, but projects 2 is actually projects. See?
Yeah. It's because it's the second table that was initially called projects. It's, I mean, one of the reasons that you'd want it like that is because, like, what if you had already have, automations?
Oh yeah, no, like it's definitely protecting you. It's definitely protecting you from screwing some stuff up for sure. And I'm guessing that I'll rename here in a minute, so that it can show us the right piece here. So let's bring this up here. This one's actually called sub projects. And you can see I can actually, this is one of my favorite parts. You can actually make it so that it like actually is a sub of whatever is up there. And then I can make it so I got my command center up there, and I can even make it so like they all go underneath there. So you can see now it's like, here's my projects, here's my sub projects. So I think
the way I've been doing it is making a section first, and then making it to where there's to be like Will's command center, and then you would have the projects as the next one. So that way too, you can keep your specific pieces together. So if I'm like, oh, here's my CRM, boom, and then I have one where it's like, here's my project Ambrosia. So it's got its 7 tables and its dashboard in its own section. Yeah, like that.
Interesting. We'll play with that more in a second. All right, so we got our projects up here, sub projects down here, and this one we're okay with it being, we're going to use the name field because we're pretty sure those aren't going to be changing. And that means I don't need this. Delete. And here I'm going to do connected record. And I'm going to call it a sub project. I'm connecting it to sub projects. No filter at this point. Woohoo! I got 50 more actions a month. All right, so now we're going to do data automation. And I don't have any sub projects. Oh, that's one downside.
But you can adjust the label.
So if I just label in here, you mean?
Yeah, so go to name and then select as label instead of the ID. See how it has it selected? Go here and select as label.
See,
Of course, if you had a duplicate name, like label, though, you could run into some.
Yeah, but for the most part, we should avoid that to some degree, I would guess.
And with my testing, usually it's the most recent one will be the top one, so it's not usually as big of a deal, but something to consider there.
It'd be cool to make it so that if you could concatenate the labels. So like,
yeah, that's definitely something we're working on at Jestor.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so now I have my sub projects here, and let's see what these are all part of actually. So no coterie. Let's see. No coterie is actually a project all on its own. So we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to actually create that as a project over here. So no coterie. And my sub project there is the scraper. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to like that. Actually, because it'll show me like, here's all your sub projects, and it like that almost like kind of gives me the bullet pointed list feel because I can see them all here. So skew harmony. Let's see.
I'm sure we didn't do that backwards. I mean, kind of like you would really want to be able to go to a project and then see it in the record where you would see all of it, because you can only have one. Right, this is
connected record.
Oh, yeah, you can only choose one because it's 1-to-1. You know, it's one to many, and in this case, the many would be which project it goes to. So we might have done that one backwards.
So this one would actually we'd want to go this way.
Let's see.
Uh-oh. They both say projects.
Hover over one, and then you can see. Does it say projects 2? No.
No, it doesn't. Shouldn't be able to create one to myself. So, well, I picked the right one. So here we go. We got no coterie. And
yeah, that's the main project. Exactly.
Yeah, there we go. So you're right. The connected field that we created here doesn't actually do what we want.
Interesting. You also showed me something that might be important for us to fix something as far as how the labels work for one of our clients.
Cool. Well, that's the purpose of building in public. We get an opportunity to really test things out. Okay, so skew harmony. Interesting. So as I look at these, I'm trying to decide like, oh, I listed skew harmony twice. That's probably because the other one should be shared 2FA. Pretty cool tool that allows you to share two-factor authentication securely inside a Slack channel.
Oh yeah, I saw your video about that. That was really nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool piece of work. So these two are both trade sub projects. And I would guess like maybe my main project here is like trade. I don't really have like a connected piece of this one, so I'm just going to do trade for now, and we'll see where this gets. And these two are both go-to-market consulting clients, but they're go-to-market consulting clients who've made it to a stage where I'm only doing like an hour a week of consulting for them. So interestingly enough, it's almost in the other bullet pointed list, I didn't have to consider, like, I just put them in a bullet pointed list that said, delegated. So it's interesting to kind of like play with this and see where it goes. Cause now I'm like, well, what would be the, are these in fact, I know this one, the scraper one, I know that's that is in fact a sub project. So now it makes me wonder if Skew Harmony, Shared 2FA, Mr. Delicious, and Let's Get Away Properties. It makes me wonder if are those actually projects and they just should have a status of delegated. And I was mixing that in my bullet pointed list before. See, it's kind of forcing me to think about my to-do list in a database like format, which I think is actually really powerful in terms of like making sure that I understand what I'm going at. Because I know that my end goal here is to have my list of active projects here. And I've obviously got to change that to be my other table. But I've got to kind of figure out, what does that look like? Oh, it's still doing that thing. Interesting. Must be something cached. So those are my projects. And this is my active projects. Because your original idea of taking the actually really liked that the original idea you had where you were saying it should just be a drop down. Here we go. So now I've got my active projects there. That's an old table I don't need anymore. And I basically come in and I can see the sub projects that are associated with all of these at any given time, and even see some like key fields that would give me data about what's happening with the overall project. Okay.
Yeah, so perhaps you could do
so
you could do consulting as
one of the things that I
project.
also wanted to do was say like, okay, let's say we have our sub projects listed here. And then up here we have one called delegated, which is kind of what I was getting to the whole time, was like, how can I get my list of delegated projects?
Did I go on mute? I can't tell. Oh, no.
And it's going to be my sub projects table. I'm going to do status contains delegated. And then I've got my list of delegated projects down here. And you can see it even brings up, what project they're part of. Okay. So if I'm going with sub projects, we'll wrap up the live stream here in just a minute. But if I'm going with projects now, let's see. I think I did decide that this is going to be a project. It's just going to be one that's delegated, because I'm not really sure what the other ones are. But I think I need to get more data into the list in order to actually make some of these decisions.
Yeah, I was thinking you could call it like
data structure. It is a beast sometimes. So
can you hear me, or did you lose me
here?
Because I can hear myself.
Got delegated. Oh, here's another project. Got one heart, one light. That is a nonprofit group that I'm part of that helps people work on their emotions and become more emotionally connected to God. So if I've got that one in there, now that is one thing I would love. I would love to be able to like reorder them in that list. I don't think I can do that yet. Like drag that one down, but I bet I can do it if I, in the command center, I can kind of mess with some of that.
You could definitely filter them to be what you would need them to be.
I'd probably have to give it some sort of like ordered by kind of thing. and then filter or sort based off of it. So if I change the sort there, does it change it in here too? Yeah, put this. No, it didn't. Oh, it did. Interesting. There we go. Z to A. So did that change it here too? It didn't. I wonder if I refresh it. It is a single page web app. So if you don't reload, sometimes you don't get that.
Yeah, I don't think it does. You would have to, I mean, it's just trying to show the table. So it's just like a setting for viewing and then,
Okay. So
That's something we'd have to look at.
Yeah. Yep. Interesting. So ordering them is definitely gonna be something that I want to pay attention to because like it's a projects list, right? So I want to figure out how to make those go in an order that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe it's like a priority.
Yeah.
Highest priority. Maybe you can have like a
Yeah.
1 to 10 selection list or.
Yeah, something like that. And then I've just got to make sure that this version, this thing can actually edit based off of where that goes. So cool.
Yeah, or you could use like a Kanban view, perhaps. But yeah.
Oh yeah, you could totally do a Kanban view of it and embed
And
the
just have it
Kanban
be
view
like
in
the
here.
priorities or something.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, I gotta see. That's one of the things about Jestor is you got to kind of break. You don't have to just be a bullet pointed list. And so I'm trying to recreate my bullet pointed list, and a Kanban may be a much better way to look at all the projects in terms of priority and like look at that. And I forget that you can see the same data like 6 different ways on the page. So awesome. Well, we're going to stop it there. Put both of our faces so you're not tiny. We're going to stop it there, and we will be back with more building in public. We got this and a church template and a couple of other things we're working on. So thanks, everybody.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks, Will. That was great stuff.